Welcome back everyone. If you want to transform into the woman you've always envisioned, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up and join our Patreon for tons more exclusive material. Now let's jump right into today's story. I stood at the top of the stairs that led down into the living room, my knees shaking lightly as I struggled to keep my balance in my sister's heels. It was early evening on one of those pleasant autumn days where the sunlight outside had taken on a golden warm glow and the house sat mostly silent aside from the faint murmur of the television downstairs. Mom and Dad were gone for the weekend and my older sister Carla was away checking out a grad program at a college up north, so I basically had the whole place to myself except for my best friend Rich, who was lounging on the living room couch supposedly waiting for me to come back. Earlier we'd been playing some relaxed games and trading jokes. Neither of us had any clue things would spiral into this. I took a deep breath, inhaling the faint scent of Carla's jasmine perfume that clung to the delicate scarf around my neck. Dressed completely in her outfit, a simple white skirt reaching my knees, a fitted short-sleeve sweater striped in red and cream, and a belt pulled tight at my waist, I looked exactly like a young woman ready for a casual Sunday outing, not the typical 20-year-old college guy who usually kicked back in oversized hoodies and relaxed jeans. I felt silly and unsure of myself, but here I was, all because of a bet, a ridiculous one that Rich had talked me into. After I'd lost our last round, I'd challenged myself to go full out and exceed whatever he expected. I'd even shaved my arms, tamed my usual messy black hair, and put on makeup. In other words, I'd gone all the way with a cross-dressing way past what he'd probably pictured as a quick laugh. Now I steeled myself for his response. "Don't crack up too much, all right, Rich," I called down, trying to hold my voice steady while I took the final steps down. "Does this match what you had in mind for Dolled Up?" Rich had been staring at the character select screen on Street Fighter, cycling through the options when I reached the bottom of the stairs and he caught sight of me. His mouth fell open for a moment, our eyes met, my pulse racing. I braced for him to explode in laughter, tease me, or throw out some sarcastic comment, but instead his cheeks flushed pink and he abruptly spun around, practically bolting toward the kitchen. The only thing I heard was a mumbled need to grab some water. I stood there frozen, wondering if I'd looked that ridiculous or if somehow I'd actually frightened him away. I took a cautious step ahead, wobbling a little on the modest 3-inch peach heels Carla stored in her closet. I trailed him into the kitchen and found him at the sink running the water while gripping one glass. Rich, who was usually chatty and bold, now seemed completely thrown off. I cleared my throat and gently tapped his shoulder. "Whoa," Rich yelped, turning his head my way but avoiding my gaze. "Oh, hi, Ben, I just needed a clean glass, that's it. What's going on?" I narrowed my eyes. "What's going on with you?" I asked. "You all fidgety. You took off the instant you saw me. I figured you'd think this was hilarious. Wasn't that the whole point?" He winced a bit. "Look, I'm not fidgety. I was honestly just thirsty." He shut off the tap and put the glass down. "You look, I mean, you really committed to this, didn't you?" I leaned against the kitchen door frame. "Yeah, I did. Your silly bet said I had to dress up like one of my Street Fighter characters, right? I knew a random shirt and pants wouldn't do the trick, so here we are. You got exactly what you asked for, so what's your take?" Rich finally made himself meet my eyes, his hazel gaze scanning my features, my softly colored lips, lightly shaded eyelids, and neatly styled hair. "I think," he replied slowly, "you look amazing." I blinked. That wasn't the reply I had been expecting. "Amazing?" I echoed, caught off guard. He nodded, swallowing hard. "Yeah, seriously, you look like a real girl. Honestly, you turned out better than I ever pictured. I assumed you'd just slap on a dress and be done with it. I never thought you'd go this far." He waved a hand toward my polished nails, my skirt, and the I guess it startled me because at first I couldn't even tell it was you. My face warmed up. I'd geared up for teasing, not compliments. "Oh, thanks," I murmured, not entirely sure why I was thanking him, perhaps from relief or a spark of pride. "I suppose that means the mission's complete. Then you wanted me dolled up, so mission accomplished." Rich scratched the back of his neck, still looking uncomfortable. "Yeah, well, you definitely proved your point." He paused, then continued, "We can head back to the living room if you'd like, finish up our matches." I shrugged, trying to act casual while pushing aside the strange atmosphere. "Sure, let's do that. I'm not letting all this preparation go to waste. I'll play a few more rounds dressed like this. Maybe I can throw you off and make you lose." Back on the couch, I settled onto the cushion and adjusted myself carefully. The skirt reminded me to watch how I sat, so I tucked one leg under to stay modest. The controller still felt natural in my hands, even with the shiny red nails I'd applied. Rich positioned himself a little farther away, sneaking glances my direction as if he wasn't sure how to act. I tried breaking the quiet with some playful talk. "All right, Rich," I teased, "let's find out if you can still take down my Chun-Li now that I'm channeling her energy." He coughed. "I don't think the outfit affects the gameplay, but okay, let's go." For a while we played in relative silence, swapping victories, yet I could tell Rich was struggling. He fumbled basic combos and missed straightforward openings. He kept getting distracted whenever I adjusted my position or flipped my styled hair, his eyes darting up anxiously. I knew exactly how I appeared, far more convincingly feminine than any casual prank would manage. It had taken me almost an hour upstairs, getting cleaned up, shaving, styling my hair, and doing Carla's makeup. I'd expected laughter, but instead he behaved like he was next to some girl he barely recognized. It sparked a playful thought. Midway through a round, I lifted my voice slightly, shifting it to a softer, higher tone. "Richie," I said sweetly, "could you hand me that pillow?" I spoke as though I was someone completely different, fluttering my lashes just a touch. He jumped, dropping his combo and the controller, his face turning bright red. I seized the moment and landed a powerful special to win the round. "What the heck, Ben?" he exclaimed after regaining his composure. "What was that about?" I dropped the act and smiled. Sorry dude, I was only joking, you wouldn't stop looking, so I figured I'd give you something worth staring at. I took the set pretty easily while he fumbled for excuses. He insisted it wasn't fair, I just chuckled, which helped lighten the mood. Eventually Rich stopped protesting and relaxed, admitting I had the edge that day. All right, he said, you've had your laughs, he sighed, let's switch things up. I checked the clock on the wall, we still had plenty of free time. What did you have in mind? Well, Rich replied with a slight smirk, remember part of the bet included you getting to drive my dad's truck. You've been wanting to handle something bigger than your mom's sedan. How about we take it out for a quick drive? It's not too late and the roads by that empty plaza are pretty deserted. I froze. Driving around dressed like this? Are you serious, Rich? Right now I look like one of your sister's friends. He shrugged. The windows are tinted, no one's going to notice you, plus you wanted the driving lesson, why pass up the chance? You can switch clothes afterward if you really need to, but that would eat up more time. I narrowed my eyes. You're really testing this? Come on, just a short trip, we'll head to that vacant lot near the ice rink, no police, no crowds, it'll be okay. I sighed, knowing that arguing would drag on all evening. Maybe, just maybe, this would provide a good break. Despite my hesitation, I did want to get the hang of that truck. All right, fine, I said, rolling my eyes, but keep it brief. Let me grab Carla's coat, I'm not heading outside in only a sweater and skirt in this chill. 5 minutes later we stepped out of the house, securing the door behind us. I shivered a little as the cool night breeze brushed against my bare legs. The open-toed peach heels left me feeling exposed outdoors. Rich guided me to the driveway where his dad's older truck sat. He held the passenger door open like a gentleman, smirking faintly as I got in. I acted like I didn't notice his grin. He jumped into the driver's seat and fired up the engine. The loud roar of the old vehicle eased into a steady hum as we drove off. You sure we won't get spotted? I asked, glancing down at my painted nails resting on my skirt. Rich brushed it off casually. I've pulled this off before, just chill. He turned onto a quiet side road, heading for the empty lot behind the ice rink. The whole time I stayed on edge, praying no one would spot me. To my relief, we reached it fast. The area was deserted, a broad expanse of weathered pavement illuminated only by faint lights and the distant shine of highway traffic. After a brief lesson on the gears and mirrors, Rich let me take the driver's seat. I cautiously drove small circuits around the lot, practicing turns, working on parking, and getting used to the truck's size. It felt surprisingly soothing. The heels made it tricky, but I handled it. Rich offered tips, complimenting my solid maneuvers. For a bit I forgot about my outfit and zeroed in on the driving. See, it's not that tough, said Rich as I slid neatly between two worn lines. You're picking it up quick. I killed the engine, thanks, I replied. This actually calmed me down some. I stretched my legs, wishing I'd chosen different shoes. My toes were beginning to throb. Rich smiled, and for the first time he looked relaxed. Hey, before we go home, let's try something else. How about grabbing some food out somewhere? He motioned vaguely. My dad left me a bit of cash. I frowned. Like, actually going out in public dressed this way? Are you out of your mind? Listen, Rich pressed, you're totally unrecognizable at the moment. If we just hit a drive-through, nobody will bat an eye, or we could do something even better. I folded my arms. What kind of better are we talking? Rich paused, tapping the steering wheel. The fair's running in town. This is the final weekend before they shut down. You've been talking about wanting to check it out. Let's go now. I know it seems wild, but look at it this way, no one will know it's you. You can have fun without constantly worrying about who might spot you. I'm right here with you. My heart pounded hard. This day had already spiraled out of control. The thought of walking around the town fair looking like this filled me with dread. At the same time, he was right. I had wanted to go. I'd even planned to ask him, but things hadn't lined up after my family left. And surprisingly, he wasn't mocking me. He'd been supportive in his own impulsive, offbeat way. Still, hesitation gripped me. What if someone from campus recognized us? Rich just shrugged. They'll see me with a girl. No one's going to guess it's you. Think of it as the perfect cover. I pressed my lips together, feeling the light gloss. When I'd first applied it, the sensation felt strange and foreign. Now it was starting to feel almost ordinary. I can't believe I'm doing this, I said, shaking my head. Fine. If you swear to keep quiet about it later, we'll go. But I'm holding you to every word. Rich deal, Rich replied with a wide grin as he started the engine. Let's go have some fun. The drive to the fair took less than 15 minutes. Traffic was light, and I spent the whole ride switching between anxiety and growing excitement. By the time we pulled into the dusty parking lot, the sky had turned completely dark. The fair's bright lights sparkled everywhere, while music, laughter, and the sweet aroma of funnel cakes filled the air. I pulled my coat closer, quickly checked my reflection in the visor mirror, and took a steadying breath. We headed toward the ticket booth. The line was short. I kept my head lowered, but Rich gently nudged me. Hey, relax, he whispered. You look great. At the booth, Rich announced confidently, 2 tickets and 2 unlimited ride bands, please. He turned to me for the money I'd brought along. I handed it over without a word. The middle-aged attendant smiled warmly at me, called me sweetheart, and wished us a wonderful evening. Not even a trace of suspicion. I managed a polite smile and thanked her. Inside the fairgrounds, The colorful lights and loud music flooded my senses. Crowds wandered around. Families, couples, groups of friends. It felt completely unreal to be here in this outfit, carrying a small purse I'd grabbed from Carla's room, dressed as a woman and walking beside my best friend who acted like everything was totally normal. Strangely, it helped that Rich treated me the same as always, though maybe a bit more attentive.
Maybe he just wanted me to enjoy myself. Pick something, he said.
Any ride or attraction you want. I scanned the glowing signs, my stomach twisting a little.
I needed something low-key to start.
The haunted house caught my eye, dim and shadowy, where no one would see me too clearly.
Haunted house, I suggested. Rich hesitated a bit. I knew he wasn't a fan of jump scares.
Really? He asked, but he didn't argue when I pulled him along by the sleeve. Inside, fake cobwebs and flashing strobe lights welcomed us.
Cheesy props popped out unexpectedly.
I thought I'd be on edge the whole time, but instead I laughed through most of it, especially when Rich grabbed onto my arm. When we stepped back out, I was smiling ear to ear. It felt freeing to let go of my worries and just enjoy the silly scares. Next, Rich chose the tilt-a-whirl, a fast-spinning ride that left my stomach churning. I got off feeling dizzy and quickly excused myself to find a restroom. Without thinking, I stumbled into the women's bathroom. Halfway inside, panic hit me. I was in the wrong place.
But I was in disguise, right?
Two girls at the sinks glanced over but didn't look twice. I locked myself in a stall, took deep breaths, and steadied my nerves. When I came out, they were touching up their lipstick. One of them noticed me and asked kindly, "You okay? You looked a little pale when you rushed in."
I gave a small smile.
"I'm better now, thanks." Keeping my voice soft, I added, "I love your boots, by the way. They look awesome."
She beamed.
"Oh, thanks.
We got them on sale at the mall."
Her friend joined in, complimenting my outfit. We chatted for a minute before they waved goodbye and left. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, amazed that I hadn't been caught.
I looked completely normal to them.
Back with Rich, I found he'd grabbed corn dogs and sodas. We sat near a small stage where a local band was playing covers of classic songs. Over the next hour, we tried different fair foods, played the rigged games, and jumped on more rides.
I started to loosen up.
It got easier to move with confidence, easier to laugh at Rich's jokes. A couple of guys even tried flirting with me, which nearly sent me into a panic. But Rich stepped in smoothly, saying I was with him, and they backed off right away. Oddly, I wasn't as shaken as I expected.
It was almost amusing.
Rich seemed different too. He wasn't pulling his usual pranks or sarcastic comments.
He was thoughtful, calm, and polite in a way I rarely saw.
Without our typical banter, we simply enjoyed the night together. He even won me a small plush giraffe at the ring toss, handing it over with a proud grin. I accepted it with a playful eye roll and a smile. Eventually we started feeling tired and decided the Ferris wheel would be our final ride. It was the centerpiece of the town fair, towering high above everything.
The line was short, but a sign announced it was couples hour.
We paused, but the operator waved us forward, assuming we were together. Before I could protest, Rich and I were guided into a blue gondola that swayed gently as we settled in.
I placed the plush giraffe beside me.
Rich stretched out, draping his arms across the back of the seat. As we rose into the sky, the fair grew smaller below us. I shivered in the breeze and pulled my coat tighter.
Rich noticed.
"Want to slip those heels off?" he suggested, nodding toward my sandals. "Your feet must be sore." I hesitated, then shrugged. "Yeah, they've been killing me." I took them off, wiggling my toes in the cool air.
Rich glanced down at my red-polished nails, looking impressed but staying quiet. I chuckled nervously. We climbed higher. The view was breathtaking. The fair's vibrant lights, the distant shine of downtown, and the dark outlines of the hills. I breathed deeply, my heart still fluttering. This entire evening had been a complete whirlwind. I thought back to stepping out dressed as Carla's twin, expecting ridicule but getting something entirely different. Rich spoke softly. "So, Bella." He paused at the fake name I'd told him to use earlier, the one I'd chosen so he wouldn't accidentally call me Ben. "How are you feeling now that we're wrapping up the night?" I looked at him, surprised by his gentle tone. "Tired, honestly," I said, my normal voice slipping through a bit. "But I had a really good time." I searched for the right words. It was nothing like I expected. I thought I'd be hiding the whole night, but after a while, no one seemed to care. I even talked to strangers. It was, well,
Not what I imagined at all.
Rich nodded slowly. I'm glad, he said. Sorry if I came on too strong earlier. I guess you caught me off guard.
I let out a quiet, breathy laugh. Off guard is putting it mildly. He looked away for a moment, then back at me. The cabin stopped at the very top, leaving us hanging there in a peaceful hush. The fair's sounds faded into the distance. The stars overhead were faint against the wash of neon lights. You know, he said, his voice a little unsteady, I meant what I said earlier. You look amazing. I know it's just a costume, but you really make it work.
My cheeks warmed again.
Thanks, I managed.
His closeness suddenly felt intense.
He was leaning in, and I realized how small the cabin really was. I guess, he continued, I like spending tonight with you, watching you try something new and just go with it. It showed me a different side of you.
I swallowed hard.
The air between us grew thick. His hazel eyes looked sincere, more serious than I'd ever seen. Our friendship had always been easy and casual, full of jokes and late-night gaming, not moments like this. We were just two college guys who bonded over music and games, talking about girls we liked, never crossing into anything deeper. Yet here we were, me in my sister's clothes, him looking at me like he wanted to understand me better.
The Ferris wheel jolted as it began moving again.
Rich's breath caught, and before I could process what was happening, his face was inches from mine. He pressed his lips gently against my glossed ones, a soft, brief kiss that ended almost as soon as it started. Then he pulled back suddenly, eyes wide with shock and regret.
I'm so sorry, he burst out. I don't know what came over me. I didn't mean to. My mind spun. He'd kissed me. My best friend, another guy.
The makeup, the clothes, the whole atmosphere, it had blurred everything. I stared at him, heart racing, unsure how to respond. A wave of mixed emotions hit me. Before I could speak, Rich kept apologizing, his voice catching. We reached the bottom, and the attendant opened the door.
I stepped out silently.
Rich followed, looking frantic and flustered.
We walked back to the truck without a word.
The plush giraffe hung awkwardly from my arm.
My head buzzed.
I felt strangely empty, the earlier warmth and laughter gone, replaced by heavy tension.
The drive home was silent.
Rich stared at the road, knuckles white on the wheel. I gazed out the window as streetlights passed by. My chest felt tight, and I couldn't find the words to break the quiet. The memory of his lips on mine kept replaying. When we finally pulled into my driveway, the house dark and still, Rich turned off the engine. I know I messed up, he said, his voice hollow.
I'm really sorry. I never wanted to make you uncomfortable. I don't know what I was thinking. I hope you can forgive me.
You're my best friend, and I don't want to lose that.
He sounded desperate and ashamed. I clutched the plush giraffe to my chest, feeling tears sting my eyes.
Without thinking, I leaned up and gave him a quick kiss back, just a light peck, a fleeting gesture.
I wasn't even sure why. Maybe to close out that strange moment or to ease the confusion swirling inside me.
Then I pulled away, got out of the truck without speaking, and rushed to the door, heart hammering. I fumbled with my keys, hurried inside, and locked the door behind me. He called my name softly from outside, but I couldn't face him right then. My legs felt shaky as I kicked off the heels and made my way upstairs. I stripped off the coat, belt, skirt, and sweater, then removed the borrowed bra and panties. My reflection in the bathroom mirror looked unfamiliar, mascara and rouge smeared. I turned on the shower and let the cold water run over me. The makeup washed down my face while my mind raced, searching for solid ground. I'd put on women's clothes for a laugh, and somehow the night had ended with a kiss that changed everything between us.
No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake the memory.
It was over now, and I was alone again in my own home. I curled up in the tub, hugging my knees, shivering slightly as I tried to make sense of the evening's chaos. The water and quiet darkness offered no simple answers, and I knew I'd never see Rich, or myself, the same way again.
Did you enjoy the story? Hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Want more stories like this?
Subscribe and turn on the bell for exclusive content and early access. Check out our Patreon, the link is in the description.
Or watch any of the videos on the side.
Thanks for watching.